Hello, hello, and welcome to my Lunch and Learn, where each and every week we explore topics to help you elevate your mindset, be at your best, and radically expand your life and business. And today's topic is about clearing the clutter, the mental and the emotional cleanup checklist. And so, if you've been feeling mentally foggy or energetically heavy, maybe like you're carrying a really heavy load even after resting, this one is for you because I have been there and it makes a world of difference. Clutter isn't just physical, it shows up in your emotions, in your language, in your thoughts, in your calendar, even in your conversations. So, we're going to get into that and really take a deep look at what that's going to do when you start clearing this emotional and mental clutter and how it can transform your life. But before we dive into that, before we dive in, I want you to let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're catching the replay, type in replay in the comments. Also, if it is your first time, type in first time in the chat because I am so happy you're here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I truly do appreciate your presence. Now, some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Larisa McCooch, Canada's leading abundance mentor, and I help professional high-achieving women who are deeply committed to personal growth get unstuck, clear emotional and energetic weight, and radically expand their lives and businesses without burnout or surface level fixes. So we go deep here at the Abundance Academy. Now, I have always been a hard worker. I used to think I could just push through. And if I just worked harder, organized my desk, organized my life, cleared the house, maybe bought a new planner or 10 new baskets, I'd feel better. But no matter how many random systems I would set up, I still felt scattered because some of the physical tidiness definitely did improve things. But the mental clutter, the emotional clutter, the things that were hidden behind closed doors, they really did take a toll on me. And I know clutter is more than just the junk drawer or the inbox. Those are absolutely critical, but it's also the emotional baggage that you haven't acknowledged, which is huge. I literally had a conversation with a client last week and she's like, I really don't want to. I want to avoid all of this emotional turmoil that I'm going through, but I know I need to. She's like, it's scary because I know I need to face this. This has been something that has exacerbated itself at this point in her life. She's a new client. However, she's conveniently ignored it over the years. And we were having a conversation and she's like, Larisa, I'm scared, but I can't ignore it anymore. I can't avoid it because it's not going away. So she's got to deal with this emotional baggage that she hasn't acknowledged and conveniently ignored. The loops of language keeping you stuck. If you really did open your ears and listen to the words coming out of your mouth, the words coming out of so many people's mouths, you would be shocked. And one of the things that we love to do is pay attention to these language loops and stop them in their tracks so we could build awareness and start changing what word patterns, what thought patterns are being expressed through our mouth. And really another overpacked calendars, they do not align with your priorities. And when you start to align things like your calendar, your methods of operations, how you show up with your actual priorities, you start to clear clutter at different levels. This isn't just about like, check, my dishes are done, check, my bed is made. Yes, those are important. However, there's a deeper level that affect your energetic input, your energy shifts, your clarity returns, and life starts to feel light again. So let's just define clutter. Clutter is anything that consumes space, whether it's physical or mental, emotional, or energetic. And it's stuff that does not serve you at your current values, at your vision, or your goals. Now, the word emotional load, the term emotional load, these are unseen mental weights that you carry from unprocessed emotions, unresolved stressors, and constant micro decisions. So we're in this fast-paced world, and it's so easy to jump from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and leave a lot of what we call open loops. And so I'm just gonna, if I have a circle, this is a circle. This is a nice closed circle, and you can keep going around the circle, around the circle, around the circle. But when you have an open loop, it's like I have something that's left undone, and it opens a circle, and then energy can leak out. And then you have another one, another one, another one. We have all these little teeny tiny things that we leave unfinished. We have an encounter or a relationship that might be going through stress, and we just ignore it when we actually need to maybe have a conversation, apologize, or bring something up that's difficult. These micro decisions that we're making, these stressors that we have that we're not acknowledging and not doing something about. I feel like you don't want to spend more time thinking about and dwelling on things that aren't working. However, there are times where you actually just need to put steps in place so these micro decisions no longer need to happen. These stressors are no longer an issue. And so when it comes to mental and emotional clutter, clutter affects your brain literally. So research from Princeton Neuroscience Institute, they found that physical clutter in your environment competes for your attention, and it decreases performance. It increases stress. Okay, so if you're looking at a whole bunch of things, right now I'm at my sister's house this week, and we have 3 kids in the house, and they are amazing and they are lovely children. And the living room right over there looks like it's had an explosion between crafts and Lego and a whole bunch of other things that they started but haven't quite finished or put away. And so the kids are having a blast. However, every time I look at the living room, I'm like, I'm going to stay here in the dining room. Why? Because I have a really nice clean table. The placemats are all stacked in a neat, tidy pile. There are flowers. Everything is orderly. And I'm looking out a beautiful window. I want to stay in the dining room because the thought of going into the living room is just going, oh my goodness, it's not as enjoyable. It's full of clutter. And my brain does not want to have to compete for that attention. I want to stay focused. I want to stay calm. I'm out of town. I am in a different environment, and I want to feel really, really good. And so I have things I'd love to do today. I want to stay focused for that. And so cognitive overload is when too many thoughts and unresolved emotions flood your mind, and they reduce your decision-making ability, impairing memory and increasing anxiety. So we have like physical clutter and cognitive clutter. So the physical stuff affects you. However, this mental and emotional clutter with cognitive overload is huge. It's when you've just got too much on the go. You can't see the forest through the trees. And you might notice the results of this as decision fatigue, trouble focusing, starting strong in the day, but then crashing by mid-afternoon, perhaps feeling overwhelmed even when your to-do list really isn't that long. And here's the kicker. Emotional clutter doesn't go away on its own. It piles up quietly until you hit a wall. So what you need to know is this really is the heart of today's session. So if you're interested in cleaning up your physical clutter, if that's still an issue, we have a cleanup checklist. It's got a lot of physical things and also things that do affect your emotions and energy. So if you want the cleanup checklist, mention cleanup checklist in the chat or message my team cleanup checklist. We will be happy to send it over to you because it is an invaluable resource. But when it really comes down to the 5 types of clutter that do have an impact in your emotions and to your mental load, there are 5 main types of clutter I want to just break down. So first, physical clutter. Okay, so we've mentioned it. Your desk, your messy desk, maybe a messy kitchen, random piles of paper, the current living room, which is going to be cleaned up tonight. When your space feels chaotic, your nervous system stays activated and you're always on alert. It's like alert, 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 pay attention. It consumes mental bandwidth and you're not able to actually calm down, chill out, and be in a relaxed state. So what you want to do with physical clutter is like pick one space to tidy, not like the whole garage, one box in the garage, maybe your desk or your nightstand or the fridge or just one drawer of the fridge. Okay, so choose one spot to tidy and reset and just keep doing one spot at a time. And keep asking yourself, does this actually support the vision of who I'm becoming? And if not, it's not the right thing to do. Sometimes it can be left for another day. Not everything has to happen today. Second kind of clutter, mental clutter. This is like too many tabs open in your browser and in your brain. We talked about those open loops. And so these are half-finished thoughts. These are spinning ideas. This is constant self-talk about not doing enough. Oh, I should be doing more. I should be doing more. So what we love to do is do a brain dump, like get things out of your head and onto paper. You can set a timer for 10 minutes and just write everything out of your mind, and no editing. It doesn't have to be clean. It doesn't have to be pretty, but at least you'll get it out of your head and onto paper so you can use your mental brain cells, your mental capacity for other things. And then once you've got this list, you can be strategic and you can divvy it up, and you can look at, like, what do I need to automate? What do I need to delegate? What do I need to delete? What do I need to defer? What do I need to just totally eliminate and delete out of my life? And so automate, delegate, delete, defer. So these are things you can do. We also have a checklist. So if you want the what do I need to do with the things in my life checklist, write ADOD checklist, and we'll be happy to send it to you. It's literally hot off the press. Our team has just built it, and we're going to be sharing it with our clients very, very soon. So if you want access to that, then it's going to be a world of difference, because when you start really differentiating these things and knowing what to do with what, you can move forward in life. You can clear some of that mental clutter and close some of those tabs on your computer, also tabs in your mind. So one of the things I've been doing is I've literally been, not just metaphorically, closing the tabs and documents on my computer as I'm done with them. I used to have like tons of tabs open on the bottom. I used to have screen upon screen they were all full of different web browsers. And now every single day, as I'm done with something, even throughout the day, if I leave something open when I'm actually done with it, I close it up. If I'm not going to use it that day, I close the document. And it's been huge, just opening my computer. So much more joyful. Next, third kind of clutter is emotional clutter. These are unprocessed feelings, maybe tension in your body, built up stress, and they might be things like resentment, disappointment, guilt. They linger and drain you. Perhaps you've lost a loved one and you haven't actually processed any of the emotions from that loss. Maybe you've had a life change, and it could even be a good life change. It could be a less desirable life change, like the starting of a job, the ending of a position. I know when I left my position at my previous corporate job, it took me almost 3 years to really be at peace with leaving. And I was the one that chose to leave. I knew in my heart I had to, but there were so many good things there. And I didn't know, it really threw me for a loop, because I didn't realize what an emotional turmoil I'd go through, because I wasn't mentally prepared. I was used to moving on to things very quickly. I got divorced. It was time to move on. I moved. It was time to move on. Things had a natural progression in my life, but leaving a position, leaving a job, I had a lot of emotional, unprocessed feelings that I had to work through. And it was little things and then different layers of things that kept coming up as I would step into new levels in my own new business, which was amazing. However, until I fully went through that emotional clearing process, things stayed. They were heavier, and there was a lingering tension and dis-ease that I wasn't able to shake, no matter how much I pretended. So you want to start noticing what's running in the background. You can stop and scan, and just like, I like to say, stop, drop, and roll. Like when you're in a fire, you just stop, you hit the pause button. So you pause, breathe, check in, and just be like, what am I feeling right now? Like, and actually find an emotional word. Feeling tense. Okay. Feeling sad. So tense is more of a physiological response to an emotion, but why might you be feeling tense? I might be stressed. I might be overwhelmed. I might want to cry. And so start looking for emotional words. And if they're physical responses, think about what physical expression those emotional are being, what emotional words or emotions are actually leading to those physical responses, because every emotion has your own version of a physical response. There's typical ones, and then there's your flavor of them. So really look at, like, what am I really feeling right now in this moment? And it will probably change throughout the day. It can change because you're a human and you should experience a rainbow of emotions. You're never going to stay flat. You might journal or talk it out, but also consider deeper release work. If you're talking it out, don't just talk to vent, really talk to get to a point of solution. This is one of the differences that we do in our emotional cleanup process is we know you've told your story dozens of times, and when you tell your story, you're reinforcing it. However, when you start learning from your story, when you start extracting the pieces that you need to move forward, all of a sudden, you can turn disempowering situations into empowering opportunities. You're still honoring the situation that happened. However, you can really turn it into a positive experience or positive opportunity for you. You're not going to be like, yay, this bad thing happened. But really truly align with it and be able to move on from it. Be like, okay, this was what happened. It is what it is. And I can accept the situation. Doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. Here's where I'm at now. So you can really move on with a state of peace. So if the emotional cleanup is something you're interested in, if you're like, I've told my story thousands of times, I've journaled, I've tried to figure this out and I still can't shake it, write emotional cleanup and we'll talk about that. We'll look at what that could mean for you. So just let us know emotional cleanup in the chat if that feels like something you're looking for. Digital clutter, that is the fourth kind of clutter. So inbox overload, apps, pings, like your phone dinging and texting and giving you notifications all day, Slack notifications, like every single open loop, every single ping demands energy and substantial energy. I had a client that she was working in the tech industry and she was high up in the in her company. And so she was responsible for many teams, many projects, and it was fast paced. And one of the things she kept talking about as her biggest stressor, she's like, I just keep hearing the ping, ping, ping. I'm just pinged all day. She's like, I don't have time to do certain projects because I'm pinged all day. So we really looked at strategies to decrease her pinging and to make her and her teams so much more effective. And as she did that, all of a sudden she freed up time to invest in herself, to do her own hobbies, to finish her work on time, to truly pour into herself and be there for her team in a relaxed and easy state versus, oh my gosh, I'm always on the go. And so what can you do? Start unsubscribing from emails. Do like unsubscribe from 10 random email lists you're on today that you don't actually want or don't actually check. Turn off non-essential notifications. I've gone through all my notifications. I literally have no things that come up on my phone other than Zoom meetings. So I've been like, okay, I want to know when my Zoom meetings are, because if I'm for some reason distracted, I do want to hear that ping that says you're supposed to begin a meeting. That's the only ping that I let it be on my phone. Everything else is turned off. If I want to check my emails on my phone, if I want to check social media, if I get a text, I'm not going to reply to you right away because I'm not going to hear it. And I'm probably not going to check because my phone, it sits face down on my desk or in another room. But I turn my phone face down so I don't even see it. You can try a digital detox where you just have no devices for an evening or for a half day or even for a full day. And when you start doing these things on a regular basis, you're going to start noticing so many more different joys in your life. Just turn off all your devices. So last type of clutter is the language clutter. I don't know, just too busy. These words, they shape your world, and language, it creates mental loops. And so what you want to do is you want to start swapping your language. Swap the I don't knows for things like I'm figuring it out. Replace I should with I choose to or I've decided. Pay attention to your words. Are they really aligned with your future? I wrote an article that talks about words not to use. So if you want words not to use article, just write that down and our team will get that to you. It's a fabulous article. And it really does help you pay attention to your language and clean it up. these are like Bible words in our Abundance Academy. If people are caught using them, we immediately stop and we reframe them, we rewind and restate things with more constructive language. And at first it feels like you're not sure what to say, but it comes so quickly as you clean up your language. Magic starts to happen because you start being aware of what's going on in here. This is an expression of what's going on in here. But the words you say have so much power. So I just want to recap before moving on. First, you've got to clear clutter in more places than your junk drawer. So yes, do the physical stuff, but this clutter, it chips away at your focus, your energy, your momentum. And the first step is to notice it. So there is physical clutter, there's mental clutter with all these open tabs, open projects, emotional clutter with the unprocessed feelings, digital clutter, anything electronic, pings, dings, notifications, and linguistic language clutter. And so what you need to do is not just have more discipline or better productivity hacks, is you want to do a full spectrum cleanup. If you haven't done this, I do this all the time. Every single season, I do a big cleanup of something, and I make it a real big point of making sure that I either clean up something in my CRM, my software that tracks our client list. Maybe I'll clean up some documents for my business. Right now, we're cleaning up some marketing documents. Elma, your obstacles correct everything you think and the way you say it makes a lot of difference. Absolutely. Yeah. So we've done different cleanups. I'm doing a cleanup of our house. So there's one room. My husband and I have a project that we're working on, and I asked my husband, I'm like, well, what can my son and I do in order to help you with this project and moving it forward? And he's like, there's this one room on our first floor. You guys are responsible for it. So what do my son and I do every Saturday? It's a storage room. And so we're cleaning out this storage room. So every Saturday when we're at home, not at the cottage or on trips, we clean out for about 2 hours. We clean it out. We get rid of things. We sell things. We throw things out. We find new homes for them. But we're going through the storage room step by step. It's taking a little longer because it's with my son, but it's a beautiful opportunity for us to do something meaningful and together. And we realized, we're like, why do we have this extra storage room? We don't need all of this stuff. And it's been great clearing that clutter. So we'll have a couple more months of doing this, a little bit at a time, but we've made that commitment. So what can you start working with? So full spectrum of physical, mental, emotional, energetic clutter. It will give you back your energy, your mental space, your emotional clarity. So everything else becomes easier. So how do you get started? Well, clear one physical space, do that 10-minute brain dump, scan your body for tension, name your emotion, delete some emails or apps, those subscriptions that you really don't need. We've done this on our group calls where we pull out our phone for 10, 15 minutes and we just clean out our apps and stuff that comes up there. You don't even know where it comes from. Choose one language shift to practice this week. So start becoming more aware of these things. And like I said, if you want to go deeper, a couple of resources I've mentioned is the cleanup checklist. So it's literally a checklist of stuff that you're going to want to clean up in your life and in your business. I've also mentioned the emotional cleanup, which is the process to help you clear those emotions. So that is something that could be a great resource to some of you. And also the words not to use document. So words not to use article, that is a really, really valuable resource. So if you want any of that, mention it in the chat. My team and I will get those resources to you. And if you're ready to go deeper, I fully encourage you to absolutely commit to them. Access the resources, book a call with us if you want some feedback. Happy to hop on a call and go clean up your life. Go clear the emotional, go clear the physical, go clear the energetic clutter, and you will feel a million times better. So with that, I am signing off. I will be back again next week with another super, super juicy topic. Have yourself